Hello and welcome to day one of online learning with Mr. B. And our unit's going to be called The Science of Viruses. Some quick online learning expectations and announcements. We'll have office hours for this class every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 to 12. This would be a live call on Zoom, where you can ask questions, we'll do a review, kind of whatever you need. You can pop in for 5-10 minutes, you can stay for the whole hour, up to you. Every day I'll be posting a YouTube video or Edpuzzle or some kind of activity before 4 p.m. I'll be grading these assignments in Google Classroom. And it's really important that we're staying up with assignments so that we are ready for next year in science. Without further ado, let's begin. The Science of Viruses, Cells, and More. Episode 1. What is a virus? I just kind of want to start off with what is a virus? What do they look like? This is a general picture. You got some kind of spikes, you got this envelope, think of it like a letter envelope. It protects what's on the inside, the outside layer, and some info on the middle. That's the basic outline of every single virus in the world, really. Now I want to do a deep dive on the 3 different parts, what they mean, what do they do, and some vocab. Today's really big about the vocab and just kind of like what is a virus. Let's start with the envelope. The envelope is an a really oily outside layer that protects the virus. The envelope is why soap is so great and making sure it's off your hands, and why people say wash your hands so much during this time is because soap grabs onto oil, grabs onto water, and it pulls it off your hand. So that's why the envelope protects the virus from everything almost, except soap. On the inside, so going inside from the envelope, we go to the genetic information. I put a little definition of genetic. It's like instructions on how to make a copy of yourself. It's kind of like the secret recipe, the secret formula, that if you have this information, you can make a copy of the virus. This means that if another cell, another kind of something that can read this information, it can make a copy of this virus, which you'll see is going to be really important in tomorrow's episode too. Finally, we move on to the outside. The spikes. The spikes are almost like, think of it like a vaccine. Anytime you go to the doctor, they take blood, they give you a shot, a vaccine, something like that. It's a needle that pokes or attaches to cells. And then viruses can use these like little needles, these little spikes, and attach themselves, and then attack those cells. Those are the 3 main parts of a virus that I'm going to want you to know. This is a great time to pause the video and record this into your note-taking guide. Make sure you have the spikes, why are they important, the genetic info or the secret recipe, the secret formula, and make sure you have the envelope that protects all of that on the inside. I'll give you a second to pause now. Before I wrap up the video, I wanted to end on a big debate in science. Now, most things that we would consider alive, they need food, they can reproduce, they can make copies of themselves, and they can move. There's a lot of elements that viruses can't do. They just kind of bounce around, and when they find a cell that, their needles can lock onto, then they can make copies of themselves, which we'll cover tomorrow. So, I want to end on a note. This is one of those mysteries in science still today. The scientists debate whether a virus is alive or not. These viruses don't need food, they just need another cell to make a copy, someone to read that formula. But at the same time, I feel like it's pretty alive when I'm coughing up a storm from the flu. So it's complicated. And like a lot of things in science, it's still unsolved. This is going to end episode 1. Tomorrow we're going to cover this. What do viruses do and how do they make those copies? Without further ado, this is a great time to end the video. Make sure you do the Edpuzzle and make sure you're staying up to date.